Welcome to the Two Doors podcast, where we open the doors to Australia's top minds in tech, talent, and transformation. Hosted by Alexander Gill, founder of Two Doors Recruitment, we cut through the noise with real conversations from leaders building the future of work. Subscribe to the show to hear and see more of these types of conversations. Let's get into it. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Two Doors podcast. I am here with Ganesh. Ganesh is a seasoned technology leader with extensive experience in driving innovation, optimizing operations, and leading high-performing teams. His expertise spans fintech, e-commerce, accounting, and CRM systems. He has managed complex projects and delivered strategic solutions in dynamic industries at companies including Iris, Kogan, and MYOB. Ganesh, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
I'm excited. Yeah, I'm very excited about this because you've worked for a long span over many countries as well. And how have you been? What's been going on in your world lately?
It's been exciting, and thankfully so. For me right now, I'm with MYOB as an engineering manager. I was looking after the team of that looked after the whole CRM for MYOB. And there's pretty interesting piece of work happening here. Everything's AI these days. So there's a lot of innovations that are happening. There's a lot of work like with the teams. There's so much exciting stuff that I can keep on blabbering about. But it's a good time to be in the technology space is what I would say.
Yes. And I mean, I'm seeing a lot of people using CRMs like a lot more lately. I don't know what it is, if it's just my focus or anything, but anyone listening out there that doesn't know what CRM is, what is a CRM?
There's a simple way to explain, right? Like if you're running a business, right? You have customers. Whenever you have customers, they need your support, right? And you want a channel where a customer can come to you in a streamlined fashion for their particular query or grievance or anything. And you need a system that actually helps them out efficiently. So you need a platform that manages your customer's relationship, right? And that's where the whole CRM comes into play. It's for your customer and it allows a business of any size to serve them well. So that would be the simplistic explanation I can come up with.
Yeah, because it's so many companies need to know how to relate to their customers, and everyone does that, right? Yeah. And that's why CRM's so big.
Yeah.
And AI it's here, it's the revolution. Everyone's talking about it. And what do you see the future of technology going?
I think the future of technology is pretty great because with AI especially, what it has done is it has enabled us to be more productive. It has enabled us to not spend time on those melee tasks that we used to waste hours and hours on doing to achieve something. With AI, the one thing that we are able to do these days is do any sort of analysis pretty quickly. Developers can use the AI tools in a way that that makes them 10x productive. It's just a matter of understanding how to use these tools. Prompt engineering, in my opinion, is a thing, right? And if you are good at prompting, you definitely have a best assistant with you. So in short, it's like having a very powerful assistant who knows everything alongside you. So gone are the days where you suffer in silence. If you can chat with an AI bot, that's it. That's all you need. And it's a very big enabler I think it has leveled the ground for a lot of engineers or a lot of people who used to think that the lack of knowledge is something that is stopping them from achieving something. With AI, the knowledge is available to everyone. It doesn't need you to have a good Google search skill to go through a few links and find something, explain and understand it yourself. Now the AI does it for you. So it has leveled the ground. So it's everybody's game now. And that's where I think the technology is heading.
I like your point about analysis as well, because I've not thought about it in that context. Because, everyone's doing that. They're getting it to review what you're doing. And even as a leader, right, it probably you post stuff into it and be like, get their perspective, come back. And I'm constantly leveraging it as a tool. And it's a great era to be in, as long as you're using that time. Because there's that old saying, isn't it? I'll use it to save time. And it's like, but what are you doing with that extra time?
Exactly. I think it's an enabler. That's why what I feel is like I mean, everyone has their own perspective around AI, right? I feel it's a very big enabler if you look at it, right? It's gonna save you so much time. And like any other new thing, right? You need to learn to get good at it. Like, there's ways of wasting time even with AI. Like, there's always chats around like people you're using AI for coding and everything. And then after that, the time is spent on reviews of understanding those things. So, but eventually you'll get better at that. Like eventually, like because it's a new thing, it's going to take time around understanding the piece of code that it is writing. But eventually you'll have like, reviewers who are equally good, like reviewing bot who are equally good at reviewing things. So, I mean, it's heading in the right direction is what I would say. The best part is like, I'm a big Perplexity user. I really love it. It's pretty great. And like the real part is that it's not just finding information, it is analyzing and explaining it to you to the best of its like, knowledge and like best of its like, capabilities. So for you or for anyone using that, it's a very big plus. So if I go into discussions and there are acronyms that have been thrown at me, which I don't understand and things like that, like, I'm not at the mercy of people to tell it to me or for me to find some time to go and understand what's happening. I could just write in the meeting, check what's happening. Okay, what is this thing? And then it gives me a good explanation. Sometimes I've even like prompted it like, okay, explain this to me like I am like a naive user of this particular platform. And it does that. Like it's like in in my experience, it is something that is out there to help everyone.
And to your point about prompt engineering, it's how you feed it or manage it or have it as a companion. But like, we've all seen a bad behaved dog before. Like the owner just hasn't taught the dog, hey, this is, but we've all seen a great taught dog. It's the same with these large language models.
Yeah, exactly.
And what do you think? I mean, I saw a post yesterday that was saying, hey, it's the end of software engineering in 10 years. There'll be no, and I disagree with this statement, but what's your thoughts?
So look, I would like the term software engineering is still going to be there, right? Like, so like, you are always like, even if an AI writes it, it's going to follow like software engineering principle because it is learned based on how we've done software engineering so far until we have like an AGI that it starts figuring things out in a way that does not follow our software engineering principles. Yeah, who knows? But I feel the basic software engineering principles that from which the AI has learned how to like, do software engineering are still there to be there, right? Plus like the engineers or like developers or like, the broader community of everyone involved, like including project managers and everything, they all play an equally important role in software engineering, right? Because for a software engineering doesn't happen by just writing code. Like software engineering starts right at the inception of what is the actual problem. And that is a non-technical person trying to understand what is happening there. And it comes to like, BAs, product owners, and a whole bunch of people discussing what it is meant to be, what is the impact that it is going to carry after we solve this software engineering problem. And then we come to design, coding, output, and like everything, like, you see someone using it. And so it's a whole experience that's not going to go away. And AI will build something and solve part of the problem in all these aspects, but for a whole thing there would always be like, people involved who would be like, at the forefront of all these things.
Yeah, it's how you think about technology, right? And software. And switching gears, I'd love to talk about leadership and these teams. And so, as an engineering manager, how do you approach team leadership and foster a culture of innovation?
So innovation, I think, drives from curiosity, right? And like, having a team that is curious of like doing things or like doing the things in a way that is more impactful or more like effective than the current norms that are itself drives innovation. So to foster a culture of innovation, in my opinion, you have to like, have a capacity for your team to actually innovate. Meaning like, there's always a lot of work. Like if you look at a team that's going sprint by sprint and like delivering work, you'll see the work backlog is always full, right? You never have time. The thing as a leader, what you have to do is in your capacity planning, you have to give some percentage of your average velocity to the team to drive some innovative things. You can call it technical debt, you can call it whatever, right? And you can call it team initiatives. In the past, what I've done is I've had like a few like 20% capacity for every sprint to have like a team initiative. Like, so that is the initiative that comes from the team, which is discussed between the team, signed off by a product owner that this makes sense. This will help us. It can be like, making our things easier, like our deployment pipelines faster, like bringing in a feature that enables us to like give a different customer experience, do something that can be A/B tested in production. So all these things, like drive innovation. So until unless the team knows that there is enough space for them to do something innovative, they'll come up with ideas. They'll be more curious. And once they come up with ideas, enabling or executing those ideas is what drives the innovation in a team.
And that comes from the hiring process as well. Like I'm working with one company at the moment, a fantastic culture. They've worked on their culture for about 8 years and they've, got rid of people and all that. But the two main things they look for are humility, so low ego, and curiosity.
Yeah.
And it comes out in their interview process because you have to go through so many people. And I love that how curiosity leads to innovation. I've not thought of it like that, Ganesh. I love that. And what about touching on high performing teams? Like do you have a formula there, or what's your approach or mindset towards that?
So, in my experience, right, a high performing team, firstly, when you say high performing team, like it comes out of metrics of the teams, SLAs and whatever they are responsible for. For a high performing team, in my experience, I've seen the most collaborative team to be a high performing team. What I mean is like the team which has individuals that are highly collaborative within their own space the support that you have within a team is a very crucial factor for a team's performance. So every time I have I join a new company or start working with a new team, the first thing I start to work with is around like understanding the skills distribution with the team, because everyone has weakness and strengths and things like that. So there's a technique called a skills mesh. You can use that to find which are the areas where your team is struggling in terms of the skills, and like what sort of supports individually people need in order to feel confident or on those particular skills. So by collaboration, what I mean is whoever needs support in whatever areas has been provided within the team itself. Right, we have programs and things always run by the organizations, and they're all supportive. But the best support that you can get is from a peer who's sitting right next to you and who you interact daily with you, and to have a level of confidence that they can ask each other a question which they are not worried about being judged. So once you have a team that is self-driving and collaborative and people trust each other in their judgments and driving things up, if things go wrong, they come in as a team and they try to solve it. All things that go out of the team is not an individual's responsibility, but a team's responsibility. Once they start acting like this, like a pack, then that becomes immediately like a high-performing team. So there's no stopping a team that acts like a team. But whereas if you have a team that are driven by individuals who are the superstar of the team, and and there are a few people who are just lagging behind, doing some work assigned to them and things like that, and the collaboration is missing, those team may be able to deliver more work because of few individuals, but they won't be high performing. At least they won't be high performing in the longer run. So my recipe for a high performing team, to create a high performing team, is to create a culture of collaboration within the team.
That's amazing. And it's great perspective, because what I've seen is those prima donnas are sort of disappearing now. People are understanding that you've got to work on team culture and collaboration rather than having your high flyers that don't play with others.
Yeah.
Like even, screened a candidate the other day and I was just like, won't fit in, because like you have to be that team player. And I like the point where you talk about the strengths and weaknesses as well. I found an issue. Like, I love talking about jujitsu because there's many philosophies in that. But I found, like, when I was a lower belt, like a white belt, which I think is just means you love learning.
Yeah.
And you've got to just survive. That's what junior is in this, right? Whereas a blue belt is more of that mid-level, and they're growing. They're starting to have opinions, and then purple belt, they're becoming a leader. Whereas you have to scale up. Like a brown belt, they know a lot more. Black belt is the teacher. You know, their CTO, all of this. But I found that you if you work too much on your weaknesses, you can't make your strengths better, and trying to do everything rather than going, hey, work on your strengths, work on your weaknesses as well, but really focus on your strength. What's your opinion on that?
So you definitely, as an individual, right? Like you have to play by your strengths for sure, right? I mean, like if you have to make a mark, it's very rare that like you will be good at everything, right? If you are good at everything, amazing. But like on an average, no, you're not. There are a few things you're really, really good at, few things you can manage, and few things you're absolutely not good at, right? And that's like, I think it's most of us that fall in that bucket. So the way someone like, individually, what I think of is like, I obviously have to play to my strengths first, and then, but at the same time, I don't want to have like weaknesses, especially the weaknesses that are relevant to the title that I'm playing. Right. So if there are weaknesses and they are directly relevant to a role that I play in an organization setting, it's my responsibility to upskill myself on those ones. Because like, there's no room for error, especially like, if you're in a decision making role, and there are certain things that you're supposed to know, and those are not your strengths, then like, you can't take key decisions. At the same time, if you're an engineer and like, there's a certain expectations from you around like, let's say your coding language, be efficient in a particular domain or cloud infrastructure or architecture, it can be anything, right? But if you're good, let's say if you're good at like, and I understand cloud infrastructure, but I'm not really good at writing Terraform. But look, that's like, that is something that you have to upskill because they go hand in hand. It's relevant to your job. So there are a few things it's okay for you to not know. I mean, you can be a really good engineer and like, may struggle a little bit with your communication skills in a public setting and things like that, which you're trying to work, but that's okay. That's not expected out of you to always come in the limelight and give this all messages and like be vocal and communicate and things, but whatever is relevant in your skill set, you need to upskill on those ones.
Yeah. It's like when you first do your profit and loss sheets or P&Ls as a leader, it's like you didn't have that as a skill. It's all learned. You didn't come out the womb as a great engineer. You've learned it all, and it's all. I love that pursuit of greatness and learning, and it's knowing that you're not supposed to be perfect. I think it's just messily falling forwards. It's like parenthood. I see a lot of time with leadership. Like, I mean, I'm not a parent yet, but I just know that the more age I collect, the more I realize that my parents had no idea what they were doing, and they just were bold enough to keep taking a step forward. And that's often what leadership is. It's being courageous and bold and moving forward.
Leadership is like that. And now that you bring the topic of parenthood, that's a very good way to like, put it out, because like I've got a daughter, and like this is the first time father, and I'm still figuring things out, like, and it is like that, right? Like when you're planning like a future for like, someone, and you have no experience, you've never done this before, you don't know what's right, wrong, all you know is like, what you've seen people do. But like that's the whole thing, right? Like you go with your best judgment, you improvise, you pivot, whatever is needed to like ensure like a smart and a better future for your child, right? So it's you're exactly right. Leadership is like that, right? And at the same time, like, there are a few things you absolutely cannot drop the ball on. Right. So if you're weak at that, you have to find time to upskill yourself, because it's not just you in a leadership position. Your whole team derails if you derail or if you drop the ball. So yeah.
Because leadership is responsibility, isn't it? And it's actually great that people look up to you and go, hey, like, I'll follow you. And I think in order to be a good leader, you have to be a good follower first. And like, you would have had some people really impact you. And are there any leadership philosophies you live by?
Yes, there are a few. I mean, there's not a lot of philosophy, because I like to keep things really, really simple.
That's a philosophy it is.
It's like, there's no point in complicating stuff like beyond it, like, what it should be. Like I have a people first approach. Like, always keep people first in my mind, even before like the work that is coming to the team or everything. I play to the strength of my team, and like not in terms of like, okay, we have this work, the team is this, and now we don't have the skill set. What can we do? Let's get more people. It's not like that. It's around like, okay, for the people first, and then what is the work coming in, and then how the existing skill set maps to that. So my philosophy is always keep people first. Once you start trusting the people that you have, once you build that network and connection with them, you start empathizing on like, if someone's struggling, why they're struggling and what's happening, how can you enable them? Without doing all these things, like, you can't think of like, okay, how can I get this work done? So having a people first mindset, like you're setting yourself for success, because once people know that you have their back, they're going to absolutely do everything to have your back, and the whole thing is success then.
Yeah.
So that's one easy thing. And the second thing is, again, for with people perspective, right? Um, enable your people, like, take genuine interest in their careers, take genuine interest in where they want to head in their career, in whatever they want to achieve. Whatever you can, like, try your best to help them out, because that's the best thing you can do. I think that's one perk of being a leader, is you have absolute, I won't call it power, but you have absolute privilege to help people out, like to, and also to mentor a few who might not be in the right direction. And like, you might nudge them towards something that they might later on discover that, okay, this was a good alternative for me, but at least to let them know about like an exposure of things. So like, if you take genuine interest in people and their career and what they want and things automatically align. And like, you'll see that this team becomes a high performing team. The work that is in front of you becomes achievable, and everything just falls in place.
That's a great summary, Ganesh, and I've thoroughly enjoyed this. This has been brilliant. I'm gonna have to re-listen to over some of that, because you've just given us the formula to success. And what I sense is that you care a lot about people, which is brilliant. And yeah, any imparting words or sentences you'd love to leave on?
No. Like, not imparting, because I don't like parting, right? So it's like, it's not about parting, but yeah, I think the one thing is like, if you're a leader, like I said, like, take genuine interest in the people you're leading. Like, you might agree, you might disagree with a few, and that's okay. That's part of like, that's part of life. And there's always like, there's always things that don't align in thinking, so that's okay. But like, if you're responsible for someone, in terms of leadership, just look after them. Work definitely follows. And AI, not AI, like, in my mind, doesn't really matter, as long as you are enabling your team to innovate. Once they know that they can innovate, I think all of these things just falls in place. So yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much for coming on the show.
Oh, thank you for having me.
If you've liked this episode, please like and subscribe. It helps the growth of the channel, so we can keep interviewing some of the best minds that there are here. Thank you very much.